Hey y'all. Let me get Dr. Chris on. All right. Give it a few seconds. There she go.
Hello. What's up?
What's going on, friend? Long time no
I
see.
know, right? It's been some time since we done seen each other.
I know. Oh my God, oh
I
my
know I gotta look at tropical. All
God.
right.
I know. Y'all, in advance, please excuse the noise.
Hmm.
If it's really loud, I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and mute.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Is Safe Speak Your Truth. My name is Dr. Chris, and we are back for yet another discussion. We miss y'all, and we're so glad to be back for episode 23. Okay, we are making progress here. So I'm going to do a recap of our previous episode. Last time we were live, we talked about keeping it a stack with everybody else but my partner. My cousin came on and shed some real good light and, shared his journey and what it took for him to really reach authentic manhood, as he said. So now we're going to talk about similar but different topic. And I'm going to pass it over to Kai and allow her to introduce our topic for today.
Hey, y'all. Hey. So again, I do apologize for the background noise. It seems like as soon as I set up, everybody wants to get their grass cut. So I do apologize for the noise in advance. If it's too loud, if you can't hear me, just let me know, and then I don't know, I just might have to move around or something. So let me go ahead and introduce today's topic. Again, like Dr. Chris said, this is episode 23, y'all. Oh my God, 23. And it is titled Generational Illusions. So what is generational illusions, right? A generational illusion, when you think about it, you think about, like, your older family members, your parents, your grandparents, great grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins and stuff like that, and they were forced to do things that their parents wanted them to do, right? And it was like kind of frowned upon if you had your own mindset, if you had your own way of thinking, if you had your own goals, your own ambitions, and you didn't want to follow in their footsteps. And even sometimes what they did wasn't right. You notice that, well, hey, this isn't something that I want to do. I want to do things differently in my life. And they have a problem with that. And you're looked at as rebellious. And they think that just because you don't do what they want you to do, that you're going to fail in life. So today we're going to talk about those generational illusions. So let's go ahead and get into it. So for me, when I think about, the generational illusions, in my family, and just a little disclaimer, this is not to bash anybody. This is just us speaking our truth, telling our stories. So again, if you don't want people to talk about the things that you have done to them, maybe you shouldn't have done them. So it's like, why do you want me to struggle? Why do you want me to have those same experiences that you had? Like, why do you want my life to be hard? Because your life was hard. I don't want, sometimes you may look at your family and it's just like, I don't want to experience that. I don't want to have like 8 kids and 8 baby daddies. Like, I don't want that. I don't want to be miserable in a career and just sit there and just hate everything about it just because, oh, you want me to collect retirement. I remember one time I quit a job, and I talked to my mom, and she had her friend at the courthouse, and I was like, well, hey, can I, do you know anybody? Because they were being like really racist at the job. So I ended up quitting. So I always had two jobs. So I had another job, but I've always had two. So I go to the courthouse and I sit down with this lady and she's like, why you always quitting your jobs? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She was like, oh, well, your mom was telling me that, you're always quitting jobs. I was like, yeah, I do. I was like, because that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not going to stay somewhere and be stagnant just to have an income if I'm not happy, in that career. I was like, but I have another job. And she was like, oh, well, she didn't mention that part. I'm like, I'm pretty sure she didn't mention that part. So she was like, oh, well, let me go ahead and look at your resume. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I emailed her resume while we sitting at the table. So she looked at my resume. She was like, oh my God, your resume is impeccable. But you have this other person that's making it seem like, I'm just quitting these jobs left and right. I'm not going to stay somewhere where I'm not happy. I'm not going to stay somewhere where, every day I'm having like these racial comments from the customers and the people that I'm working with. So they had like a client that came in. And so it was like around election time. So it was like a white guy. He came in, it was like this was like when Trump was running for president the first time. And so he walked in and he looks around and he was like, oh, I see y'all making a lot of changes in here. And I knew what he was insinuating. So, I didn't say nothing. I just kind of, like just looked and I didn't say nothing. So then another white guy comes in and he was like, oh, well, I wonder who's the liberal. Sir, I don't even care about politics. That's what you don't know. And so then, I stayed at the job for about a month. And I had like it was like a barber shop. So I had a pair of clippers. I had a pair of Andis Masters. Like those clippers are very expensive. They're like $150. Like some bomb ass clippers. So I'm using my clippers. And one of the other stylists, she came around, she was sweeping and she knocked my clippers off of my station and my clippers broke. So she was like, oh shit, I have to buy this girl some more clippers. Oh shit. And so I didn't make a big deal out of it because she admitted, oh, I broke her clippers. Yeah, it was an accident, but I still broke them. I'd have to replace them. So the salon manager, my station was directly next to hers. And mind you, I'm the only black person that worked there. So my station is next to the salon manager station. And so she saw everything that happened. So she was like, oh, well, I have, an extra pair of clippers, if you want to use them, until you could get yours replaced. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. So, I'm using her clippers. They're not the same quality as the clippers that I use, but, it's just something to get me along until I get some new ones. So the next day I come into work. And so, we come in, it's just us, we didn't have any clients scheduled for like the next like 30 minutes or so. So I was like, hey, do you know when you'll be able to replace my clippers? And she was like, don't start your shit. I said, girl, who you talking to? Oh, because Kai, don't start your shit. I was like, I'm not starting nothing. I said, you broke my clippers, so you said that you were going to replace them. So when are you going to replace them? And so she was like, I don't have time for this and da 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 da. So she going off. And I'm sitting there. So I turned, I look at the salon manager. I said, so we have a problem. And she was like, well, what's wrong? I was like, I just asked her when she was going to replace my clippers. So she's telling me don't start my shit. You heard her say all of this. So she was like, well, I didn't hear her say that she was going to replace your clippers yesterday. I said, how you didn't hear her say that when you sitting right here next to me? You heard everything else. I said, but you didn't hear that. So she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. She's having a hard time right now. She's just going through a lot and she just has a lot going on. I said, and so do I. I said, but I didn't break my clippers. She did. Well, you shouldn't have just had them sitting on your station like that. You should have had them in the little holding area. So when she came through to sweep, they wouldn't have fell when the cord got tangled up in them. So she doesn't have to replace them. And I don't recall her saying that. I was like, she did say it and she needs to replace them. So she ended up calling the owner, of course, a white guy. So he answers the phone, and so she tells him, the situation. She half-ass tells him the situation, and so he was like, "Oh well, you can get your clippers repaired. There's like places that repair clippers," and I was like, "I shouldn't have to do that." Why do I have to repair them when I didn't break them? So, I was just like pissed off. But, I held my composure and I was just sitting there. And so I'm texting my mom. I'm like, hey, I was like, I'm about to quit this job. Do you have somebody like a connection at the courthouse? Because I'm like, all my family work for the government. They all work for like the courthouse and shit like that. So I'm like, do you have a connection, with somebody, anybody that's hiring in departments that's hiring? I was like, because I need to go. Like, I'm not dealing with this. So she was like, oh yeah, I'll introduce you to my friend such and such. And I was like, okay, cool. So after we finished texting, I got up. I cleaned up my station. I started packing up everything. Packed up everything. I sprayed the mirror down. I Windexed it. I cleaned, sanitized everything, left everything spotless. So you can't say that I left this place any kind of way. So I got up. I went to the bank. I signed out and I put that I quit. So as I'm coming from the back room, the salon manager, she comes and so we kind of like meet in the doorway. And she was like, what do you think you're doing? I said, girl, I looked at her, I said, oh, I'm about to go. Well, where are you going? I said, and I just looked at it and I just walked past her and I grabbed my shit and I walked out. Figure it out because I'm not dealing with that. So now I said all that to say this. I'm telling my parent the situation. And instead of her being like, oh yeah, I understand why, you decided to leave. Yeah, I get it. I wouldn't have put up with that either. It was, well, why, to my face, it was like, okay. But then to other people, it's, well, I don't know why she's quitting these jobs and she doing this and she doing that. But you're not telling the whole story. You want me to stay miserable. You want me to be disrespected because you stay at your job and you're miserable and you stay disrespected. I'm not letting nobody disrespect me. You're not going to disrespect me. That when they created one job, they created more. So I'll find something else. So for me, that was like a generational illusion because my family, they feel like you're just supposed to stick with it. You're just supposed to stick with it so you could get your retirement, so you could get your 401k, so you could get all of this stuff. That's not worth my peace. That's not worth my sanity. That's not worth my mental health. It's not worth it. Like, I'm not going to deal with racism anywhere with anybody. So that was just my little icebreaker. I know it was kind of long, but that's kind of my icebreaker for generational illusions. Dr. Chris?
I could definitely speak to that. Thank you for sharing that, Kai. It's just when you decide that you want better and you're not afraid to go for it, no matter what you have to give up or stop doing, things that we are willing to go to bat for and stand on business about. Our our previous, mom, cousin, auntie, uncle, all of them, like they might not have had that same strength to do that. They might have been going through the same things that we are currently going through, but instead they made the decision to just deal with it or to just take it so they can get a check or get the recognition and all of this. But us, it's like, nah, I'm not. I don't care about none of that. If it's about jeopardizing myself, my peace, or what I got going, I would rather just let it go and just go for something else. It takes strength to do that. Not everybody is bold enough to stand on business. So I had an experience with that a couple of years ago. There was a job that just did not value me. They did not want me there. You could feel, how they spoke to me, how they interacted with me, like I was just a number or something that they could just use, someone that they could just use to meet their quota, or hey, we hitting our DEI number or whatever. We have a Black woman here. We're training a Black woman, and it's like, are you like you're not like everything that you're bragging about. I'm doing by myself. You're not training me. You're not supporting me. You're not teaching me anything. But you're making it seem like, oh, me being here is an honor. And you're doing everything in your power to make sure that I'm okay and that I'm flourishing and succeeding and progressing. But that could be further from the truth. You're not doing anything to assist me or support me. So I left that position and I was scared because I didn't have anything else lined up. But I was like, I'm not dealing with this. And a lot of my older relatives, they're like, I don't know why you gave that job up. You should have stuck with it, you know? It's just, a couple of more years. I'm like, you know how many people that look like me, Black women with doctorates that have committed suicide because they're at a job that does not value them, that does microaggressions towards them, that blatantly disrespect them and undermine them and what they got going on and what they're trying to do for the department, for the institution, for the position, all of this. Like, I don't want to continue to subject myself to ill treatment or disrespect. Like, that's not me taking care of me. So I just feel like things like that, I will always be provided for. And I had to make the leap. Who you gonna choose, a job or yourself? I get it. These bills be billing. Life be lifing. But also consider yourself. Like, you're pouring so much of you into a job that would not care if you passed away the next day. They'll, like my cousin said the other day, she said this the other day, she was like, they'll post your job before they'll post your obituary. Is that really a type of job that you would want to have? So that's my little spill about that. Thank you for sharing, Kai. So another generational illusion that I thought I would like to share is enmeshment trauma. You know, I come from a family where no matter what your mama say is law. You don't question it. You don't go against it. You don't make your own decisions, or even if you go to your mom for advice and then you decide, okay, nah, that's not going to work for me. I'm going to do this. That's seen as disrespectful. I found something interesting. They talked about enmeshment trauma, and this was from Theodora Blanchfield. She's a marriage and family therapist. And I thought this was interesting and very applicable to me and my life and my experiences. It says, for example, a child may be emotionally parentified, which can mean the child takes on caring for the parent's emotional needs. This may look like a mother telling her teenage daughter about her issues with her husband and expecting the daughter to take her side. Part of enmeshment is doing everything one can to keep others happy. And so someone suffering from enmeshment trauma may know how to do all the right things to please other people, but have no idea what it is to do to actually be helpful for them. If you have chosen a career, partner, place to live, or all of the above based on what your parents think is right, it may be hard to know who you really are without them. Listen, I've had this realization, as I started my healing journey a few years ago. Like, I really didn't know who I was outside of my mom. I will go to my mom for everything. When I say everything, everything. A lot of people thought, oh, I would love to have a mom where I'm that close. We had an amazing relationship. We were really close. We did everything together. She knew everything that was going on with me. She knew about my relationships. She knew, if we broke up with this person and went to another person, and, we did everything together. But as soon as I decided, nah, I need to figure out what I like. Let me do me, Let me focus on what I got going on. Yes, still my mom, I love you, but let's get some boundaries set up. I don't have to tell you everything that's going on with me. As soon as I did that, I became a terrible daughter, a terrible person, disrespectful. I hate my parents type energy. Now, I don't hate anybody. If you know me, you know me. If I cut ties or if I stop talking, it's something significant that has had to happen for me to do that, to make that decision that I would rather be disconnected from you than to be connected to you. And I realized at my big age, I didn't know who I was outside of going to my mother for everything. I couldn't make a decision by myself. I didn't have any boundaries. All I knew was to do what I could do to make other people happy, but I had no idea how to make myself happy. And this topic of generational illusions, I've realized that a lot of the women in my family suffered from that too. They put their mother at the head, at the helm of their lives. Whatever mama say, mama, I'ma do. They didn't know who they were outside of their mothers. And then when you put up boundaries, they weren't strong enough to keep going, even when you're being talked about like a dog, even when you got people thinking that you're a terrible person, a terrible daughter, you don't care about your mama sacrificed XYZ for you, she did this for you, she did that for you. Everything that she's done for you, as a mother should do, as a parent should do for their child, it's being thrown in your face as a way to guilt trip you into accepting maltreatment, into going back into a toxic situation, into undermining your boundaries and what it is that you need to do for yourself in order to be okay in this world, in order to navigate and figure out who you are. That's an illusion that I have been breaking in my family, right? I don't care what nobody say. If you know me, you know how I used to roll when it came to my mama. There was nothing you couldn't tell me about her. But now I'm in a place where I see a lot of things, a lot of realizations that are coming about. And I have no choice but to see it now, because it's like, oh, so me saying no, that's what started all of this. And it's like, it helped me see that I was an active participant in this traumatic response, this traumatic cycle that has afflicted my family for generations and generations. I am the one that's supposed to stop. We always say it stops with me. That's one of the illusions that stops with me, because I'm not going to look down on my daughter for wanting to have her own identity, from wanting to navigate life and figure it out on her own, for not wanting to include me in everything, that enmeshment. I don't want that for my child. So that's one of the ones that I definitely wanted to get out and discuss, enmeshment and not having boundaries and just being a people pleaser with your parents. That's a thing. And then how do you break away from that? Like, how do you change that pattern, or how do you break what you've been conditioned to do for so long? 30 plus years. I didn't know who I was. And now I'm on the journey and I'm starting to figure me out. And it feels good. It's scary, but it feels damn good to figure me out. That's what I got, Kai.
Well, let me just say, friend, I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm so proud of you. Just to see your growth over like the last few years. It's beautiful watching you grow and watching you flourish and continue to grow and become this beautiful, bomb, dope ass woman that you are today. So I love you and I'm so proud of you, friend. um, and so you are welcome. So, like another, situation with me, like I have like a lot of family, like, like they're big on like, college education and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, nothing's wrong with that. If that's the route you decide to take, that's fine. But when I graduated from high school, my thing has always been hair. Like I've been doing hair since I could remember 4 years old playing in my grandmother's hair, like polishing nails. Well, let me do it. Let me do your makeup. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but let me do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my thing. In middle school, I was braiding hair during lunch, during PE. High school, same thing, braiding hair during lunch. Like, after school, I'm doing hair. Like, that was always my thing, right? So when it came, down to me graduating from high school, I had the option. What do you want to do? Do you want to go to college? Do you want to go to, trade school? What is it that you want to do? So initially, I did register for college. I registered for SUNO, Southern University at New Orleans. Now my cousin, he was the chairman over the business department at the time. So he helped me. We set up all of my classes. We did everything that we needed to do. And I did do late registration because, well, my mom. So we did like my late registration and everything. And he just laid it out. Okay, work, study, everything that I needed. I had it. So for some strange reason, that's a story. This is a story for another day, but she made me drop out of school. Okay. 2 weeks after school started, oh, you need to drop out. You can't use my car. I don't want you to know because you're not going to be able to pick me up on time. So I had to drop out of school. And I'm like, okay, cool, fine, no problem. So then I ended up, going to hair school. Now, my cousin, before I decided that I was going to go to SUNO, the thing that I wanted to do was go to cosmetology school. So I remember my cousin was just like, well, why do you want to do hair? Why do you want to go to school for cosmetology? You're too smart for that. You should go to college and you should get a degree and you should do this and you should do that. And I'm just like, well, I really enjoy doing hair. Like, that's my passion. That's what I like to do. And so, yeah, Kaya, I don't think that that's a good thing for you. I think you should do something else. Well, why? You're saying that I'm not smart enough, but people don't realize when you go to school for cosmetology, you have to learn anatomy, you have to learn chemistry, you have to learn so much stuff about the body, about the nervous system, about how many bones you have in your body. It's so much shit that you have to learn that pertains to the medical field. So I just want to put that out there. Just because somebody is a cosmetologist, that don't mean that they dumb. We didn't just sit there and just watch hair videos all day, every day. We had to learn about chemistry. We have to learn about what products we can't mix with certain with other chemicals. Your diet determines how your hair feels, the hydration, or why your hair was breaking off. It's so in depth about the human body. So, that whole stigma about peak cosmetologists are not smart, that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. We had to identify diseases. We have to be able to identify all type of stuff going on with the body because we have to know if it's safe to serve that person or not. Hey, look, I'm not a medical professional, but I think you do need to go see a medical professional for this issue that you're having. We won't be able to service you. And you won't be able to get a service until you come back and you have clearance from your doctor. So it was an issue that I wanted to go to hair school instead of going the traditional, going to college. That wasn't my thing. That wasn't what I wanted to do. And, I'm kind of glad it worked out that way because I think I would have been miserable. Like, I honestly think that I would have been miserable. And now, I'm so happy in my field and I'm still growing and I'm still learning and I have like the most wonderful opportunity that I could receive in my life. And I'm just so grateful for everything that's happening right now. So that was just another short little story. So let's get back to my notes. Um, Sometimes your family, like with these the generational illusions, they think that just because something worked for them, that it's going to work for you. But that may not be my life purpose. What if I don't want to, have kids? What if I don't want to get married? What if I don't, what if I don't want those things? What if me being single and child free is the thing that I want to do and that makes me happy? Like I have, some family, oh well, and girl, one of the guy that sold me my car, he called me AK-47. AK-47. When you gonna get married and have some kids? What you, oh, I said, I don't know. I'm not in a rush. I'm not worrying about having kids right now. Like that's the furthest thing from my mind. Nigga, I can't afford kids. The fuck? Like, why do I want to struggle? No. So them things is expensive. And so he was just like, well, you should just go find you a man and just a random guy and just get pregnant and have a child. Sir, why the fuck would I want to do that? Why would I want to do that? Why? That don't make sense to me. And it's just like some stuff that people want you to do, like logically, it does not make sense. I don't care that I'm 34 years old and I don't have kids and I don't have a husband. That's not my focus. My focus is to work on me, to get me together so that I can be the person that I need to be, because I'm not trying to bring another human into this world and pass on the trauma and the generational curses that was passed on to me, because it's going to stop with me. So if it's going to take me a little longer than most to have a kid, if I want to have kids, at this very moment, I don't want them. I don't want them. Now, I don't know what's going to happen next year. I don't know. When I meet the right person, then maybe, yes. But as of right now, today, that's not that's not what my focus is. My focus is to grow, heal, and become the woman that I desire to be. And if that doesn't fit my family's their illusions, then that's all on them. Because everybody have kids. I'm probably like the only one that don't have kids in my immediate family. Like, and that's okay. And I'm not going to be in a relationship just to say that I have somebody. Let me tell y'all, my family is so toxic. Like, I remember hearing when I was growing up, well, I'd rather have a piece of man than not have a man at all. You sound desperate. You sound pathetic. And I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for myself. Like, I'm okay with not having those problems. Like, I don't want to share anything with anybody, because if you mind, you for me, and if and vice versa. I'm stingy. I don't like the share. So no, I don't want to be no side chick. No, I'm not doing none of that. I'm not. That's I have morals. I have values. I have standards. So like that's just another thing that I definitely don't want to bring on to the next generation if I decide to procreate. So that's pretty much what I have for that part. I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Chris.
So you poured into me. I feel like I need to do the same for you, because I already say I've learned so much from you. I feel like my journey was initiated by you, because I didn't realize how much I needed to heal from and grow from. And you helped me see, nah, Chris, sis, you need to chill. You need to slow down. You need to sit with yourself and figure out who you are. I thank you for that. I see your growth from episode 1 to episode 23. A lot of the anger that you held, you don't hold it anymore. Um, I feel like you've reached a different level in your peace, and you can it's all over your face, like your happiness, your joy, your peace, everything that you've worked for up until this point, you're walking into it now. And I'm just so excited to see you thrive and flourish and grow and heal and learn and connect and do all of the things that you always told me you were going to do. You're doing it now. So thank you for allowing me to see and grow and share your journey with you. I appreciate that. I value that. And you.
Thank you, friend. Thank you.
Welcome, girl. Yeah.
Tear, tear.
All right. Cool. All right. So Kai shared about, like, family and, just not wanting what they think you should want. Um, I remember when I first told my people I was going to therapy, they was like, "What's wrong with you? You all right, huh?" Or like, even like when I was growing up and I used to have those rough times where I would just feel sad, or, like I was just going through a lot, school and trying to figure out my life, next steps. Do I want to go to college? Do I not? Where am I going to go? Financial aid, all of that. I would feel depressed sometimes. And My mom used to be like, you better depress them books. You better depress them dishes. You better go in there and do that homework and worry about that. And it's like, when I got older, I just wanted to do things differently. I wanted to really figure myself out and really address the things that we typically don't want to talk about. Things that we know have affected us, things that we know still have a hold on us or we need to heal from. I didn't want to just sweep it under the rug and act like they didn't exist. I wanted to do the work. Yeah, it ain't been an easy journey. I can say that for sure, but I could see my growth. And I think that's the driving factor in someone who decides to shift the narrative, to be the change for your family, for your generation, and help lead the way for the generation coming behind you. A lot of us think, oh, we're not leaders. What they went through in the past, okay, I'm gonna recover from that. I'm not gonna continue that stigma. I'm not gonna continue that pattern. But you have to also remember that it's bigger than you. You have little cousins, your little sisters, your little brothers, you know, unborn kids that are coming up, and they're watching you. They're looking at you and what you're doing, what you're healing from, what you're clearing away for them to thrive and flourish. So that's a generational illusion that I had for a very long time. I felt like, oh, well, I just got to worry about me. I ain't worrying about nobody else. And that's simply not true. I got little cousins. I got, my niece, my nephews, people looking up at me like, okay, my auntie, she gonna do this. My auntie, she gonna do this. My cousin, they doing this. It's people that I feel not responsible for, but I feel like what I'm doing today is going to set them up for a better life tomorrow, you know? Um, Let me see what else. This is another generational illusion that I would like to bring up. Because I said so. I'm the parent. You're the child. You do what I tell you to do. So a child is still a human being with questions. Children have questions. They want to know why. What do you mean? How do I do this? How should I do this? What do you think? What is your experiences been like? But because you're the adult and I'm the minor, whatever you say, I have to do and ask no questions no matter what. That's a generational illusion because it's okay to ask questions for clarity, for understanding, for knowledge, for growth. Just because you're the parent, that doesn't mean that your child is less than you. That doesn't mean that they have no right to question you. That's not bashing you as their parent. That's not saying, oh, I don't trust what you're saying, so I'm going to question. No, that's not them trying to talk back. That's not them being disrespectful. That's not them acting like they're grown or know more than you because you're older and you're their parent. It's a genuine question. Well, why, mommy? Why, daddy? Why do I have to do this? But instead of having a conversation and talking about, well, mommy says this because X, and it'll help you with Z. Explaining it to them, the importance of doing what it is you said for them to do. But instead of doing that, because I said so, you don't question me. That's traumatic. right? Just think when you were talked to like that, when you were a child, how did that make you feel? So why do you continue that pattern, that illusion, that behavior? It's okay to shift it. No, and it's also okay to not know anything else. You know, when we're growing up, I hear a lot of people talk about, oh, well, look at me, I'm fine. I turned out fine. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Are you sure? Do you think yelling, cussing, grabbing, beating, hitting your children is an effective way to communicate with them? And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just trying to help you see the generational illusions in your own family. Because there's some things that happened to you that were certainly not okay, that you're still suffering from, healing from, trying to understand. So I just feel like, since you know that from your own childhood, let's not continue that into your offspring's childhood. Don't have them having to heal from you. Heal from the things that you need to heal from before you have children. Even if you're still actively healing, that's fine too. But I always reflect, I'm like, I don't want to be the type of parent that my children have to heal from. I just don't want that. Okay, I'm done. Kai?
So you said something, and I had to put this in my notes before I forgot. So you said the because I'm your parent, right? So that's the do as I say, not as I do thing. And that was something that I heard a lot growing up. Do as I say and not as I do. But you're supposed to lead by example. You know what I'm saying? So you're basically like, you're not setting a good example, and then you get upset because you see that your child is doing as you do and not as you say. It don't work like that. Like, that's not how children minds work. You know what I'm saying? You have to set an example. You have to, you know be everything that you want your child to. I'm not saying like you have to be that, but at least be a good example. You know what I'm saying? Or be real, be honest. Look, I don't know, I don't have it all figured out, but I'm willing to help you, and if I don't know how to do it, then I'm gonna help you find somebody else that know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get that. Another thing, my parent would always throw those Bible verses at me, and we talked about this earlier. The children, honor your mother and your father, right? They my parent love throwing that at me. But then when I would hit her with the Bible also says parents do not exasperate your children, causing them to become weary. And then when she would hit me with that, the Bible says, honor your parent, honor your mother and your father. I said, well, mother, you're exasperating me right now. And she hated it because now that's not working in your favor. It's always two sides to a coin. And just because you're the parent, it does not automatically make you right. And that's something that a generational illusion that I would love to break if I decide to have kids. Like, I would let my child or my children feel safe to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, you can express your emotions. Don't get disrespectful. But you can definitely express yourself. If you want to know why, I don't have a problem with telling you why. Because in the long run, you're just teaching your children how to be people pleasers. You're teaching you setting your children up for failure as adults. You are allowing your children to settle for anything and to be easily manipulated because it's a do what I say. And I don't think that, people realize how your childhood really plays a toll on you growing and becoming a young adult and then an adult. It really takes a toll mentally because you don't know how to handle certain situations because you were just told just to shut up and do what I say. And then that carries on to work, that carries on into relationships, that carries on into friendships. And then you start to sabotage certain things. And then it's kind of like, well, now you're a pushover. Oh, now you're a people pleaser. Yeah, because I was conditioned to be this way. So then when you start to set those boundaries and when you start to put your foot down and be like, you know what? I'm grown now. That's not going to fly with me. And then we start cutting people off, then you're heartless and then you're selfish. Well, that's fine. I will be all of those things because I've been putting you ahead of me all of these years, and it's time to stop. It's time to stop. I can't live my life for you. I have to live my life for me. And I'm sorry that you didn't have the balls to stand up to your parents and set a boundary, but I'm not you, and I'm not going to repeat that pattern. I'm not repeating that cycle. I'm not doing it. I'm not. So if I have to be selfish, if I'm heartless, if I'm cold-hearted, that's fine. I'll be that, baby. I'll be whatever you want me to be at this point. Whatever you say, okay. And that's why I'm at with it. Um, and it's and that ties into your parents and your family kind of being like your first bullies. Like because if you don't do this, oh, then you're gonna get a whipping or you're gonna get punished because you didn't do something that you didn't want to do. Like I don't get that. I don't get it at all. And then like I look back and then I just look at the pattern. I just look at my parent and the relationship with her parents and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, it's really a cycle. And sometimes you don't realize that you in it. Sometimes you don't realize what you're doing. And I've listened to my mom talk about stuff in a relationship with her and my grandmother, for years. And oh, I would never do this to you, and I would never do that, and I will let you do this, and I will let you do that. But then when the time comes, when I get old enough for you to stand on everything that you said, you turn into the person that you didn't really care for. And I noticed that too. Like sometimes we become the people that hurt us, and you don't realize it. And it's just because you couldn't do the things that you wanted to do. Now you feel like you want to live through your child. No, no, it's not. We're not doing it. You can't live through me because I have to live for me. Then I'm gonna be miserable like you, and then I'm not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not repeating that cycle. I will cut you off and live my life peacefully and do what I need to do for me with no problem. So, um, that's pretty much all I have. We have like 9 minutes left. So, Dr. Chris, do you have any last words? Anything else you want to touch on before we close out?
Yes, you said quite a lot just now. Um, we've had our conversations. And so you know that I resonate with everything you just said. I do have a couple of more generational illusions that I want to like just bring up, and if we don't have the time to go deeper into them, that's okay. Um, Silencing your voice is more acceptable than speaking your truth. That's a generational illusion. Speaking up for yourself, standing on business, that's seen as being too hard, too harsh. You know, that brings trouble. Men don't like a woman that always got something to say, always got something to complain about. That's something that's outdated. Because if you're afraid or you don't like when I speak my mind or speak my truth, respectfully, of course. But if you're expecting me to just do and be whatever it is that you have in your mind that I'm supposed to be as a woman, then we're not aligned anyway. Because if I have something to say, it's going to be said, right? I've never been the type to, just let a man walk all over me. Now, I have had instances where I will be afraid to say something because I want to keep the peace. But that Chris is gone. That Chris is way back over here, like 5, 6, 7+ years back here. The Chris today, Dr. Chris, oh, she ain't going for that. She ain't going for that. So a lot of people have outdated ideas of who I am. Like, oh, well, I remember when we first got together, you did ABC. Yeah, you talking about like when I was 20, 21, 22, when I didn't know myself, when I had absolutely no boundaries. Come to 2024. come check out this Chris, okay? Then we can have a conversation. Let me see. So silencing your voice, being scared or afraid of standing alone, you know, having codependency issues, always having to need somebody there with you, or, you know, have someone stand or support you or helping you make decisions and all of that. And don't get me wrong, it's good to have a network and a supportive system that you can consult or speak with about what's going on with you and all of that, but allowing them to make the decisions for you because you can't make them for yourself. That's a generational illusion that I'm actively working to break. I think that's most of what I had. Yeah, that's what I had. What you got, Kai?
So, like I said, that was my last key point. So I can go ahead and we can get into our affirmation of the day or of the episode. So today's affirmation is from Nazia, aka Nas, the rapper. Yes, yes, the rapper. So the affirmation is, and if you know it, sing along. I know I can be what I wanna
Be
be.
what
If
I want to be.
I work hard at
If
it,
I work
I'll
hard
be
at
where
it,
I wanna be. Hey, hey,
well,
hey, hey, hey. So that's our affirmation. Like that is today's affirmation. And yeah, that affirmation isn't just for the youth. It isn't just for the little kids. That's for us too, as adults. You know, the new adults, the medium adults, the well seasoned adults. You know, it's for everybody. You know, you could be whatever you want to be. And if you decide to change your mind at 60 and do something different, that's fine. You can do it. You don't have to be stuck in a pattern. If it's something that you want to do, do it. It's a lot of things that I have done. And now that I sit here and I think about it, I'm actually proud of myself because everything that I said I wanted to do, like I've done like everything that I said I wanted to do. Even if it didn't, get as big as I wanted it to get, I still did it. I still tried. And if it didn't work out, I'm okay with that because I know I never have to sit and think, well, what if? What if I would have, you know, tried that idea that I've been having? What if, I would have stepped out on faith and did this? I never have to sit and say, what if? I did it. I tried it. And then if it's something I just have to put a pin in and come back to a little later, that's fine. Because guess what? Best believe I'm coming back for everything that's for me. And if it's for me, it's for me. And it's never going to go nowhere. But it's a time and it's a place for every single thing. So, again, the affirmation is I know I can be what I want to be. If I work hard at it, I'll be where I want to be. All right, Dr. Chris. So you have your words of encouragement for the day?
yes, ma'am. I love that. It's just, you know, breaking those generational illusions. It's gonna take some work, some strength, some intention, attention. You know, consistency, discipline, cutoffs. You know, but you could do that, right? Because you said you were gonna be better. You said it was gonna end with you. You said, "Oh, I'm gonna be a better parent than my parents were to me." That's what you said. So you're gonna have to put in some work, and it's okay. to take breaks. It's okay to seek out help from your support system, from your community. It's okay to say, I'm having a rough day today. I ain't got time for this today. It's okay. But you better get back up. You better keep going. Ain't no giving up around here. You can't give up. Because you got future generations dependent on you. You gonna be the one to stop the generational illusions so that they won't affect the next generations to come. So it's on you. And yeah, that's a lot to have on your shoulders. In addition to lifing, the bills be billing, you know, everything on your shoulders, everything on your back. But at the end of the day, you are already equipped with what you need to make it happen. Everything is always working in your favor. So if you remember that and be diligent and consistent and know I'm going to do this, then everything is going to align. But you got to put in the work. We believe in you. We got you. We in it with you. And, you know, you ain't by yourself. We doing it too. So with that, Kai, close us out.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank y'all just for showing up, for allowing us to be a part of you guys' healing journey. And again, if y'all have anything that y'all want to share, if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, just send us a DM. You can hit up Dr. Chris. You can hit me up, whoever you want to hit up. And, you know, we'll get everything situated. We'll get everything squared away. So we will be back on Saturday, May 4th, with episode 24. So y'all just stay tuned and be on the lookout for that next topic. And we can't wait to see y'all next time. Bye.